Hello, everybody. We're going to start in a few minutes. The live broadcast should start in about 5 minutes. So if you want to come join us on stage, I will send you an invite. Just call in, and instead of taking the call, I'll just pop you on stage. This is popcorn style, easygoing. So just call in, and I'll bring you on stage. Hi, Sawyer.
What's going on?
Not much. Waiting for this. Hope it goes well. Amy, I see you there. Okay, I sent you an invite already. Hold on. Invite to speak. There you go. Brandon, come join us. We also want to test this app a little bit, see how many people it can hold on stage. So I'm trying to look to see familiar faces. Sorry if I don't recognize you. Noah, I know Noah, invite to speak. But I don't want to put anybody. Sean, I recognize Sean. Come up on stage. Anyway, anybody that wants to come in, just call in and I'll bring you up on stage. It's like raising your hand, basically, like on Clubhouse. So how's everybody doing? Brandon, you're new to the app.
Yeah, brand new. I was almost tapping the X button because I thought that was on mute. So this is...
Yeah, it's good because we're going to have the FSD beta room. Going to schedule it tomorrow. Waiting for a few confirmations and bringing people up. Invite to speak. So, feel free to unmute and chat. This is easygoing, popcorn style. You guys know about the mission?
Yeah, it'd be cool to have a launch in California. It's been a while, I think, right? Since the last one.
Yeah, it's been quite a while.
They tend to do the high inclination ones from Vandenberg.
Yeah.
Okay, so
do we know how high the orbit is?
Sorry, I'm just going to put a little bit of volume so I know when they start speaking. What did you say, Amy?
I said, do we know how high the orbit is?
540 kilometers at a 70-degree inclination. So it's not quite polar, but it's close. Yeah, so Starlink is, if I know correctly, they're filling up the third shell right now. So this is phase 1, third shell.
So, yeah, they haven't done only one? Or is this the third polar?
Not sure.
Is that what you meant by third shell?
Hold on. The third shell is supposed to get a total of 720 satellites. So yeah, it's altitude. Sorry, I said 540. It's 570. It's 570 kilometers, 70-degree inclination.
Okay.
Yeah, come on, guys. If you want to come up, I'll say it again. We have 37 in the room. We'd love to have you on stage. This is easygoing. It's not an interview. We're just nerding out on SpaceX Vandenberg launch on the West Coast. It's about going to be an hour.
We haven't had any launches for a while.
What did you say?
I said we haven't had any launches for a while.
Yeah, exactly. And we have Inspiration coming up tomorrow. Don't miss that episode. We're going to be doing basically the same thing. So we're also testing out how the app is stable with lots of people on stage. So I'd really appreciate you guys if you would just call in and I'll bring you up on stage, send you an invite. Here you go, invite to speak. You would get a button on the top and you can just accept the invite. There you go.
Yeah, this is great. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, hope you guys enjoy it. Yeah, sure. And like I said, we want to test the app as well, see how stable it is, and give also feedback to the guys who are, coding it, where the bugs are and things like this. It's only by doing rooms and episodes that, they can find what's wrong. Right. And usually the rooms I've been in that were very stable had just 2 people on stage basically. So we're trying to get the numbers up and see if we can, do a little bit like on Clubhouse, get 20, 30 people on stage if we wanted to. And
this is a first time for me here. So once this show is done, will it be recorded and archived to be
Yes,
accessed
yes,
later
yes, of
too?
course. Like if you come on stage, you will get credit on your profile that you were part of the show. So if you're into that sort of stuff, like I said, oh, so sorry, there was a caller, invite to speak. Come and join us. There you go. So yeah, it might be your first credit on your episode of your bio. If you go at the bottom, you have episodes and highlights. So if you're on stage tonight, yeah, we're going to publish the show. And oh, there we go. It's starting up.
Oh,
Is there a link?
Yeah, the link. No, the link is going to be like it's going to be on your bio. You're going to be able to hold on. Let me turn down a little bit. You're going to be able to like tweet it out, share it, and you'll also be able to create highlights of the episode if you want to. But it'll be on your profile bio at the bottom.
Sorry, I meant, is there a stream to watch for the launch? That's
yes.
Exactly,
So there's SpaceX. There's the SpaceX stream. This is the one I'm watching. Sometimes when I'm doing it alone, I will watch both SpaceX and Everyday Astronaut, although there's a little like time lag between the two. Oh, there we go. We're starting up.
September 13th, and on your screen is a live view of Falcon 9 as it awaits its 8:55 p.m. Pacific time launch from Space Launch Complex 4E at Vandenberg Space Force Base. My name is Yo Mezo, and I'm a propulsion engineer here at SpaceX, joining you from our headquarters in Hawthorne, California, a little under 200 miles south of our launch pad today. We're excited to be covering our first West Coast Starlink mission and our first launch from Vandenberg this year. The last mission that launched from Space Launch Complex 4E was the Sentinel-6A mission in 2020, and this will be our 16th launch of Starlink satellites this year and our 32nd to date. As many of you already know, Starlink is a satellite internet constellation designed and manufactured by SpaceX to provide high-speed, low-latency internet to people living in remote and rural locations around the globe. Our beta service is now available in a growing number of places across the globe, including the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Germany, New Zealand, Isle of Man, Jersey, Australia, Austria, France, Netherlands, Belgium, Denmark, Ireland, Switzerland, Portugal, Chile, and Poland. To date, over 500,000 people have placed an order or put down a deposit for Starlink. More than 100,000 user terminals have shipped, and with every launch, we get closer to connecting more people around the world. We are now at T-minus 12 minutes and 45 seconds, and all systems are still go for an on-time liftoff at 8:55 p.m. Pacific time. And with that, we'll take a closer look at the rocket that's just peeking through the clouds there on your screen. Falcon 9 has been loading propellants since T-minus 35 minutes, and that's our two-stage liquid-fueled rocket on your screen right now. The Falcon 9 vehicle stands 229 feet tall, or slightly taller than a 21-story building, and this will be the second time that a booster flies for its 10th mission. The bottom two-thirds of the vehicle that you can barely see there is the first stage, and you may be able to just make out the soot markings left over from its previous 9 flights. The first stage is what accelerates the vehicle through the Earth's atmosphere into space with the help of 9 Merlin engines at the base of the rocket. We will be attempting to recover the first stage today on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, as you can see on your screen there, and this will be the first time that the Of Course I Still Love You drone ship supports a West Coast mission. On the top of the first stage is the black carbon fiber inner stage, and on top of that is the Falcon 9 second stage, which has a single Merlin vacuum or MVAC engine. Once the first and second stages separate about 2.5 minutes into the mission, the MVAC engine will ignite and carry the Starlink satellites to a polar orbit around the Earth. You'll also notice the large nose cone at the very top of the rocket, and this is the fairing. That's where the stack of Starlink satellites is currently safely enclosed. The fairing protects the satellites from aerosomal heating, aerodynamic loads, and contamination during ascent. Once we reach the vacuum of space, we'll jettison the fairing as the second stage continues on its journey to orbit. Like our booster, the fairing halves protecting our Starlink payload today are also flight proven. This will be the third flight of one of the fairing halves and the second flight for the other half. One half supported our TurkSat 5A and GPS-3 missions, and the other half supported our NROL 108 mission last year. Today's flight will be our 24th mission with reflown fairings and the 43rd and 44th refurbished fairing half flown. And we'll be attempting to recover the fairing half again today using our recovery vessel NRC Quest, which previously supported a Dragon recovery mission. The latest weather forecast shows 100% favorable for liftoff. Winds are light, so the evening marine layer that you can see there may linger and affect visibility. But with that, the vehicle, satellites, weather, and range are all looking good for an on-time liftoff just a few minutes from now. If for some reason we do not launch today, we do have a backup opportunity on Tuesday, September 14th at 8:56 p.m. Pacific time or September 15th at 3:56 UTC.
There's nothing much to see on the screen. It's all covered in fog. You can barely see the
every
rocket.
Starlink launch, network capacity will increase, allowing Starlink to serve more people in more areas around the globe. Starlink is already delivering high-speed broadband internet to remote areas that previously had limited or no internet access. Recently, the Cherokee Nation in Oklahoma began a pilot program installing Starlink in rural locations across the reservation. Without reliable internet, residents had limited access to healthcare, telemedicine, and education opportunities. But through this pilot program, Starlink has the opportunity to help connect the Cherokee Nation with the kind of resources that can make a huge difference. Starlink is also being piloted in Sotomo and Calete Sierra, Chile, two remote towns impacted by the digital divide. Sotomo, the first pilot site, is in a forested area in southern Chile, and only 20 families live in the town. The second pilot site is Calete Sierra on the coast, about 1,200 miles north of Sotomo. Using tablets provided by the Education Ministry, the remote school in Sotomo, which currently has about 7 students, can now access online learning material, visit virtual museums, and make video calls. Starlink was designed for remote communities just like Sotomo and Calete Sierra, where high-speed connectivity can have a transformational impact. And the Starlink team is eager to support these pilot programs, starting with local schools. And today's launch of Starlink satellites will bring us another step closer in delivering high-speed broadband internet to those who need it most. The Starlink satellites launching today represent a huge leap forward as the team continues to iterate and improve Starlink technology. Most satellites don't speak to each other directly. Instead, they use radio frequency communications with a ground station to relay communications between satellites. The Starlink satellites launching today will be testing fully operational optical inter-satellite links, otherwise known as space lasers, to provide direct communications between the satellites without a ground station acting as an intermediary. Fewer pings to ground stations means Starlink will be able to both expand and improve service, especially in very remote areas. All future Starlink satellites will feature optical space lasers. As we mentioned at the top of the webcast, today's mission is launching from Space Launch Complex 4E at Vandenberg Space Force Base, which is ideally suited for payloads going to a polar orbit. By launching to a polar orbit, these satellites will be able to see almost all the way to the poles, providing near global coverage. This means Starlink will be able to expand service in Alaska, Scandinavia, and other polar regions. And on top of all that, the team continues to iterate and improve production of Starlink hardware. So we're currently developing a next-generation Starlink user terminal that can be manufactured much faster and more efficiently than previous versions. All of these ongoing advancements translate to better internet access for more people in more places than ever before. You heard the call out that the Stage 1 fuel loading has just completed, and in just a few minutes, Falcon 9 will lift off, carrying our upgraded Starlink satellites and their new optical space lasers to a polar orbit. Now, in order to get these satellites into space, the rocket has to do more than just go up. It also has to go sideways really, really fast. So at liftoff, gravity is pulling straight down on the rocket. As we extend, we actually tilt the engines, also known as gimbaling, and this turns the rocket horizontally. We're still going up, but now we're also headed horizontally away from the launch pad. This is what we call a gravity turn. The rocket typically needs to go 17,500 miles per hour horizontally in order to avoid being pulled back down to Earth and actually get into orbit. To help demonstrate this concept, imagine firing a cannon from a really high mountain. The cannonball will arc and then gravity will pull it down to Earth. As you increase the power, the cannonball will arc and land further and further away. Eventually, if you could continue to increase the power, the cannonball will be going so fast that it ends up in free fall around the Earth. Gravity is still pulling down on the cannonball, but it's going so fast that it never hits the ground. This arc, which constantly misses the Earth, is called an orbit. So when we lift off today, keep an eye on the orientation of Falcon 9. You'll see it go straight up until about T plus 10 seconds, at which point it will begin to shift in orientation so that Falcon 9 can also go sideways really fast. But before we get to that, let's check in on the status of the vehicle for today's launch.
It was cute that
T-minus 4 minutes.
We are currently a little over T-minus 4 minutes from liftoff, and Falcon 9 is now moving into the final stages of the countdown. We are currently waiting for the transporter erector, or TE, to retract, and that's that truss structure that you can probably barely see right now to the right of the vehicle.
Okay, K10.
First, the TE clamps will open, and then the transporter erector will begin to retract away from the rocket slightly. And at T0, hydraulics pull the TE farther away from Falcon 9 as it lifts off.
K10, the invite should appear at the top of the screen. It should say invite.
Now the transporter erector provides liquids, gases, electrical connections to the second stage, as well as air conditioning to the payload fairing.
Or call in, K10. Try to call in, the little phone icon.
Does anyone know why
Stage 1
it's
launch load's complete.
51 satellites versus like...
Stage 1 launch loading is complete here at T-minus 3 minutes. And the second stage is also nearing fully loaded with 1 million pounds of kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. Super chilled liquid oxygen is our propellant oxidizer, and that is what is creating those white clouds that you see around Falcon 9 along kind of through the mist, and that's because the warm, humid ambient air is causing that liquid oxygen to turn into gas.
He's calling the
The first stage just finished prop loading at T-minus 3 minutes, and the second stage will be finishing up at T-minus 2 minutes. At T-minus 60 seconds, Falcon 9 will be in startup, and this means that the rocket's autonomous internal flight computers will have taken over the launch countdown. And just inside of T-minus 2 seconds, we will light the Merlin 1D engines, and we're set to lift off. The Starlink payload continues to be healthy, and the Falcon 9 team is tracking no issues on the rocket. Weather is still looking favorable, and the range is green for launch. We're at just under T-minus 2 minutes. Let's listen into the terminal countdown.
Okay, K10, I'm trying to bring you up on stage, but apparently, I'm sending you 20 invites.
Stage 2 launch loading is complete.
I don't know.
You can see that white cloud that's just puffed up on the right of the booster there is venting from the TE LOX line. This is normal and expected. It joins that beautiful view from Vandenberg with the marine layer, the fog, with Falcon 9 there peeking out in the middle. We're just about 10 seconds away from the Falcon 9's flight computers taking over the countdown.
T-minus 1 minute, guys. This is it.
Flight computers in startup.
Falcon 9 flight computer is in startup. The Stage 1 and Stage 2 tanks are beginning to pressurize for launch.
Godspeed.
Go for launch.
The launch director has just given the final go for launch. All systems are go. Let's listen in to the terminal countdown and watch as Falcon 9 takes our 51 Starlink satellites into orbit.
T-minus 30 seconds of counting. T-minus 15.
Yep.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff.
Looking good.
What a beautiful view of Falcon 9 as it successfully lifts off from Pad 4E at Vandenberg Space Force Base, carrying our stack of 51 Starlink satellites to orbit. Now, moments ago, we throttled the engines down in preparation for max Q, or maximum aerodynamic pressure on the engines, and that is coming up in just about 10 seconds here.
Getting close to max Q.
Max Q.
We did just pass through max Q.
Yeah.
And in a minute, we will have 3 events happening in back-to-back in rapid succession. And that's main engine cutoff, or MECO, stage separation, and second engine startup 1. Now, first main engine cutoff, or MECO, this is where all 9 M1D engines will shut off to slow the vehicle down in preparation for stage separation, where
Engine still started.
where the first and second stage will separate, with the first stage making its way back down to Earth for landing, and the second stage continuing on its journey to the third event, or second engine startup 1. And this is where the MVAC engine lights up and propels the second stage along with the Starlink satellites to orbit. We're about 30 seconds from main engine cutoff, and you can see that beautiful plume of the rocket as it is soaring in the sky.
Yeah, it went from red to turning blue as it powers down. It's really cool.
That's a lot different from the...
Yeah. So a few seconds for MECO.
MECO.
There you go.
You can see the light from the engine.
Success.
The light from that first stage engine cutoff.
MVAC ignition confirmed.
For main engine cutoff, you saw the successful stage separation, and the second stage engine has started up from those live views on your right there. That is
separation confirmed.
Merlin vacuum engine, and here we are waiting for fairing separation. You can see that great view of the 2 fairing halves separating from the Starlink satellites.
Guys, I can see the rocket from my house in San Diego. This is awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That's so cool. Yeah, I think Barbara's checking it out. She's in Santa Barbara, and I think she's checking it out right now. I invited her, but I think she went to view it.
Yeah, she's going to send me a video soon.
All right,
Dude,
cool.
I'm standing in my driveway. This is amazing. Oh, wow.
Today's flight marks the 24th time SpaceX has reflown the Falcon fairing halves since November of 2019. And again, this was our second flight for one of the fairing halves and a third for the other half. We'll be attempting to recover the halves again today using our recovery vessel, NRC Quest, which previously supported Dragon recovery missions. You can see stage 2 here with the MVAC engine lit up and carrying our Starlink payload to orbit. And with the stage 2 headed towards its targeted drop-off orbit, Stage 1 will be executing 2 burns in order to make its way back down to Earth. The first is the entry burn, where 3 of the M1D engines will reignite, and this helps to slow the stage down as it re-enters the upper part of the Earth's atmosphere. The second burn is the landing burn, and this is a single engine burn that brings the vehicle speed down rapidly in order to land on their drone ship.
Second stage is above 10,000 kilometers per hour at an altitude.
If you're just catching up with us,
165.
we had a successful launch of Falcon 9 from Vandenberg Space Force Base, Slick 4E, and you're looking at a live view of Falcon 9's second stage as it delivers our Starlink payload to orbit.
Both vehicles are following nominal trajectories.
Both Stage 1 and Stage 2 are on nominal trajectories right now, with Stage 1 is cruising back to our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, in the Pacific Ocean, sorry. As a reminder, today's mission marks the 10th flight for this particular booster, the second flight for one fairing half, and the third flight for the other half. Reusability is critical to what we do at SpaceX. It allows us to refly the most expensive parts of the rocket, which in turn drives down the cost of space access. Now, the Stage 1 entry burn should be coming up here in a little under a minute, and this will be a 20-second burn of that first stage. Some of you may know that Falcon 9 is named after the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars, and the number 9 indicates the number of Merlin 1D engines on the first stage. The Merlins on the first stage are optimized for sea level, and these achieve 190,000 pounds of thrust during ascent and descent, and the MVAC engine, or Merlin vacuum engine that you see on your screen right now, is optimized for 220,500 pounds of thrust in vacuum.
Getting close to re-entry burn of the first stage. Lighting up.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
What a cool view on your left of the Stage 1 entry burn startup there. This is a 20-second burn of 3 of the Merlin 1D engines of the first stage.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
We did
Both
have
vehicles continue to follow nominal trajectories.
we did have
FTS is saved.
we did have a successful Stage 1 entry burn, and you can see those super cool live views from the Stage 1 there as it is re-entering the Earth's atmosphere.
Landing in about a minute, less than a minute.
We can't quite make it out from those Stage 1 views, but there is a lot of soot on that first stage of the booster, and that is because the rocket-grade kerosene, or RP1, that is used as a fuel in Falcon 9 is carbon-based, and when it burns, it generates that
Stage 1
soot.
transonic.
And then as the booster it slows it down prior to re-entering the atmosphere. And when it re-enters with its engines first, the booster actually flies through its own plume, which deposits the soot on the rocket. Now, Stage 1 landing burn should be starting here very shortly.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
Stage 1 landing burn has just started.
Okay.
That is our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, in the Pacific Ocean.
The camera is really shitty. We can't see much, but we're seeing, oh no, it cut off the downlink. Nope, we're back. No, loss of signal. Landed. Right in the middle, bullseye.
As you can see from that beautiful view of Stage 1, having landed on our drone ship for the 10th time, this marks our 90th overall successful recovery of a Falcon 9 first stage, and the
Nominal of insertion.
124th successful launch of a Falcon 9. We just missed it, but we did have a successful second engine cutoff 1 and a confirmation of a good orbit. Up next, we will have a coast phase followed by the second burn of our second stage engine. These additional burns allows us to modify the orbits of our payloads more efficiently than launching directly into the final orbit. So today, our second stage will coast for about 35 minutes until we reach apogee, or the highest point of the orbit, where we will conduct that second stage burn. You can follow the progress of the second stage with this animation showing where we are around the Earth, and we'll see you back here at T plus 44 minutes, 30 seconds for our second engine start 2.
I thought they were going to deploy much sooner from what they said on the website.
Expected loss of signal, Vandenberg.
So how is the audio quality? Oh, by the way, Barbara, I'm sending you invites. I don't know if you see them. They're on top of the screen if you want to join us. I know you went to see it live, like shoot out.
Man, I'd go see it live if I was there. That's
Audio.
Yeah, it was quite good. That's nice.
Yeah. Hey, Alex.
Go
I
ahead.
was in the room the other day, and we were having a lot of problems, man. And yeah, this time it's pretty damn good, man. It's very, very much improved.
Yeah, definitely more stable for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been in many rooms. Like I joined in August, so I listened to many rooms live, and I did lots of tests, and I've never seen these bugs. So it seems that it comes and goes. But yeah, right now we're like, I've never seen a stage so filled. By the way, so if other people want to come up, just call in, and I'll bring you up on stage to see how many we can fit. So there we go. We have somebody invite to speak, because we're going to have large rooms coming up.
Alex, you guys gave us a lot of tasks yesterday from that feedback session. So
oh yeah, we're going to push you guys.
Yeah, thanks for that. That was helpful.
We're going to bring the clubhouse experience here, and yeah, we're going to push you.
Appreciate it. Well, hopefully the improvements are noticeable. So thanks again for that.
Yeah, so really excited. So yeah, we're going to have the Inspiration 4, which is like this huge mission. I don't know if you guys know about it, about the 4 civilians, like with zero training, are going to launch and spend 3 days in space. Pretty sure everybody here on stage knows about it and in the audience. But that's going to be like tomorrow, and the launch window opens at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And we don't know when they're going to launch. They might launch right there. But the launch window, I think, is 24 hours. I've heard, again, like there's, depending on which website you go on, it's either 24 hours or it's an 8-hour launch window. So it's mostly like dependent on the weather or if there's a bug with the rocket or something. So join us for that. And Thursday, it's not scheduled yet, but I'm going to give you a little teaser. We're going to have an FSD, a lot of FSD beta testers give us their first impression after a few days of testing the latest version. So I'm not going to spoil who's going to be there, but yeah, it's going to be a large stage, and we're going to be discussing that. So make sure to follow the show. And oh, Barbara's here. Did you get to see it, Barbara?
Hey guys, yes I did. Saw it with my mom.
And
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, it was great. It's really foggy right now. So it was not as easy to see compared to other launches. But I live about an hour south of Vandenberg, and so this is, I think, my 4th launch that I've been able to see. I've gone closer to the base before, but yeah, they're pretty awesome, especially at night. Yeah, video quality wasn't that great, but I'll upload something to my Twitter soon.
Yeah, seriously, on even the SpaceX.
So yeah, it was great.
Yeah, even on the SpaceX channel, like they were pointing the camera straight at the rocket. You can barely make out there was a rocket there. It was so foggy.
Yeah. so foggy. Vandenberg is like right next to the ocean. It's just an area that always is constantly dealing with fog. But yeah, no, this was really great. I'm glad they were able to do it. I was actually thinking it might get postponed, but so that was neat. My mom came outside and she saw it and she enjoyed it as well. So yeah, I mean, if anyone ever has a chance to see one in person, I highly recommend doing it. It's really awesome, and then the sonic boom at the end is pretty cool too.
Sweet. And who else was
Yeah.
mentioning that they were listening to? They were watching it. I didn't catch who's talking back then. Was it Noah?
Who else was watching it?
I think Juan did.
Oh yeah, I mean, I took a really crappy picture and it showed up. I put it on Twitter, but yeah, from my house in San Diego, like I
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
San Diego.
oh,
It was you, Juan. Sorry.
let me walk outside, and I go and I'm like, nah, I don't see anything because I live in kind of like East San Diego, so it's kind of like the sky's pretty good. It's pretty dark. And I was like looking up, and then I looked a little bit further south, and it's like, oh crap, there it is. It's just like, wow, you could see the plume of like the rocket, the engine, like, and it's like, oh crap, like, so I took a picture of it. I put it on Twitter. It's not super great, but yeah, I put one on there, and it's just, I'm gonna have to get better equipment so I can show my kids,
Same.
That's cool.
I need a better phone.
Hey, someone correct me. Was it the 92nd recovery or the 90th recovery?
90th.
Okay, I was wrong in my tweet then.
Yeah, and I like how they're using like mismatched parts. So like one half of the fairing has flown 3 times, the other just 2, and it's like, yeah, they're recovering parts and just putting them together. It's so cool.
There'll be a few more Vandenberg launches this fall, at least a few in October, November.
Oh, so awesome. It's so worth seeing. It's about an hour drive for me. And it's great because there's so many like places you can see it. But the last time I went, I think it was, I want to say last year, and boy, it got crowded. It was really crowded. A lot of people, a lot of Teslas. It was really fun to see. Lompoc is like the best. Lompoc, they usually like close off a lot of the access to the actual base and nearby. So sometimes it's a challenge to find parking or a good spot, but it's definitely worth making a little voyage if you can.
Anything coming up in October 1st and 2nd week? I'm going to be visiting from Silicon Valley to LA.
Let me check.
That's a good question. Yeah, that should say on their website. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's going to be like 11 other launches because it's 60 per launch, and the third shell at 70 degrees inclination is all. There's 720 satellites, so they need like 12 launches. So there's going to be plenty of opportunities for that.
Thanks.
Yeah, Everyday Astronaut has a good website to like all the launches. So you got OneWeb, Inspiration, but nobody cares about OneWeb, seriously. And I'm just scrolling down. Yeah, Starlink 30 would be the window starts. Yeah, it's instantaneous window, September 30th. But this one's Cape Canaveral, so it's another shell. And it just stops. Yeah, it's only the next 10 that are showing.
Okay, thanks. And even know why it's 51 satellites on this one versus a higher number, or I mean, how does it decide whether it's 51 or more?
I don't know if this is like the new with the laser link. Maybe that's why they can't fit as many.
I believe it was.
Yeah, it's for sure it's the laser link. But why isn't it 60 instead of? Why is it 51 instead of 60? I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Maybe that's what they wanted to have up there for now, and then it's economics, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, or maybe the other 9 just didn't pass the QA in time or something, right?
Yeah, it's also possible. You probably wouldn't want to delay the launch. with these windows and you got the FAA approval and all that stuff, once it's down, you probably want to take advantage of it.
Right. What's the highest that they've sent for Starlink in a launch, if anyone knows? 60 or 70?
I think the maximum number they've ever sent is 60. That's like it fills out the fairing like completely.
Okay.
But they weren't the laser link ones. So I don't know if the laser links, maybe they can't send 60 when it's the laser link.
Yeah. And probably they want to be a bit conservative when they are doing this new stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But this laser link stuff is really cool. Like you don't need ground stations anymore. It's just like, let's see.
We actually just have one burn from our West Coast Vandenberg launches. So the Starlink satellites actually deployed at T plus 15 minutes
Yeah, we
and
missed
33
it.
seconds. But we won't actually be able to confirm deployment until we get to a ground station over Argentina at T plus 26 minutes and 16 seconds.
They messed
We'll be
up.
back around then with an update. Thanks for sticking with us, and we'll see you back here in just a few minutes.
I knew it. The deploy was supposed to be like really close after launch, but like they don't have ground stations to communicate with it, so we can get like a video signal. So she basically gave the time when they would have the video signal instead of when it was deployed. So the satellites are already deployed.
Is Starlink supposed to fit 100 of them?
Excuse me?
Is Starlink supposed to, is the Starship supposed to fit 100 of these Starlink satellites? Up from 60?
Oh, probably more. Oh, wait.
I couldn't remember the number that SpaceX shared.
Well, we haven't seen how they're going to open, like, the bay of the Starship, how it's going to open its nose. But, yeah, it's like 10 times the weight that it can carry of Falcon 9. So I'm guessing maybe not 10 times the number, but it's probably close. Like Starship's huge compared.
I thought he had said something like 500, but
I'm gonna look it up. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's going to be massive if they can start launching the Starlinks. 500 at a shot. Yeah, Bezos is going to have an aneurysm.
Lawsuits flying everywhere.
well, and just inspiration for people going up into space, and they didn't have to buy a ticket. Like Bezos couldn't have somebody go up that didn't, or it wasn't Bezos. Who's going to sell tickets?
I think Bezos? They're both going to sell tickets. It's Branson from Virgin and Bezos from Blue Origin. Yeah. So Amy just finished watching Inspiration, the Netflix special, the first 2 episodes.
No, I'm not sure which episode I'm on because it just kind of blend in. I'm where they're going to Camp Muir on Rainier, and it's really cool because I've hiked Rainier and didn't get quite to Camp Muir. That's a pretty good hike just up to Camp Muir. That they start from Paradise, which is pretty high.
That's in Washington State, right?
Yes.
Did you guys see, I don't know if anyone saw, I tweeted out, CBC News in Canada put out a headline about Inspiration 4, and their headline is, it's literally brutal. I can't believe it when I saw it. Another billionaire is headed into space this week. That's their headline for the Inspiration 4 mission.
Oh, that's shameful.
I've literally never seen such... Now. It's such a joke. Like, I can't even believe.
Who was it again?
See, I tweeted it at CBC News. You can see it on my. It's just, I can't believe.
Looks like they don't get it.
Yeah, it's one thing. Like, it's not false. Yes, he's a billionaire, one of them, but that's not the purpose of the mission. And like, you're kind of hiding the ball. It's extremely misleading. It's insane. Yeah. You'd think you would lead with, first all civilian mission to space, or first cancer survivor to ever go to space. Like, there's so many other headlines you could lead with, but of course, billionaire, like, come on.
Yeah, and he was not selected because he was a billionaire. He was selected because he was a pilot. Yeah. And so he fills the leadership seat of resilience. This is such a beautiful story, and it's not like it's secret or hasn't been publicized. Like, there's so much information out there about what this mission represents for humanity and who are the people that are actually going there. I don't know. Can you imagine being one of the four
and the
and
amount of
reading
risk.
that headline?
Right.
Yeah, it's a joke. I mean,
And the amount of risk people are taking. I mean, what about all the risk?
Yeah.
yeah, it's embarrassing. It's just they don't want that to be the narrative. They just want the narrative to be space is frivolous. We don't need to be, doing anything in space. And so even though this is like this mission is to prove the contrary, they're not going to let anyone get around, the narrative that they want to push.
They
Alex,
are
you were
also
close.
raising money for the cancer hospital.
Yeah, the whole thing is a charity
Yeah.
to raise $200 million for St. Jude's Research Hospital for Children.
Yeah, and the four attributes, I mean, they're amazing. Hope, leadership, prosperity. I mean, no other mission has this aspect. I mean, that the humanity really comes through.
Yeah, and they're not like movie stars or, they were randomly selected.
Yeah, and they're normal people. So it's amazing.
Yeah, and seeing their reaction when they get the news, it's so different from one to the other.
Yeah,
it's like one was
that's
like
true.
almost like had a heart attack, and his face went like all serious. Oh God, I got to talk to my family now. And the other one was like jumping out of joy, and yeah.
And yesterday, the Netflix Part 4, they did a Top Gun like fighter pilot training. That was amazing.
Yeah, we're just having a bit more info.
Today's mission, we had a successful liftoff from Vandenberg Space Force Base at 8:55 p.m. Pacific time. We then had a successful stage separation, recovered our first stage.
Acquisition of signal, Punta Arenas.
After its 10th flight on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You. And had a successful second stage MVAC startup. And of course, we just had confirmation of a successful Starlink deploy. Again, this deploy happened some minutes ago, but we were waiting for that ground station coverage, which we just got to confirm that deployment. And now these satellites will begin to slowly separate from the second stage. They actually have already separated, and over the course of the next few days and weeks, they will distance themselves from each other and use their onboard ion thrusters to make their way to their operational orbit. And with that, that brings today's webcast to a close. Thank you to the Range and Federal Aviation Administration for supporting today's mission. And of course, thank you to all of our viewers and all of our Starlink customers for using our beta service at this time. If you're interested in being a part of our beta program, head over to starlink.com and sign up. Hope you enjoyed the webcast today, as always, and we'll see you soon.
Should we sign up for the beta?
Yeah, people should. People have had great comments about the service, especially if you're overpaying and getting poor bandwidth. Yeah, maybe Starlink is for you.
Yeah, that's me. I definitely I signed up as soon as they opened it up for the most of us to do it, because like high speed internet where I live is expensive and terrible.
By the way, Alex, you were close. The Starship will be able to launch 400 Starlink satellites per launch.
There you go. And that's just a start. Then they're going to make it even bigger.
Yep.
And it's going to be 800.
Do we know if Inspiration 4 is going to be higher than the ISS? I know they talked about it.
They are.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and they have that cupola that they installed instead of the docking port. And it's really amazing. It's like a perfect bubble that you can stick your whole head like you were in outer space.
That's
yeah.
And that's Wednesday. What?
That's
time?
Tomorrow. Well, it's today because we're already tomorrow. So it's
you are.
today.
I'm not.
Well, you're not. Yeah, but for me, it's past midnight, so it's today at 8 p.m.
Okay, I thought they said Wednesday.
Hold on, now I'm confused.
Wednesday 15th. Wednesday 15th.
Wednesday 15th, but it's like Pacific Coast.
It's
No,
dawn.
it's
Dawn.
UTC.
Yeah.
UTC. Sorry.
Okay, so not
Yeah.
tomorrow, but
Hold on. I'm all. Where's CRS Starlink? How come Transporter 2? Okay, let's see. Everyday Astronaut. Inspiration. It's starts September 16th UTC. Okay, so I'll have to check. 15. Yeah, so it's the 15th, so it's not today, it's tomorrow. I'm just going to check if I scheduled it right. It's tomorrow at we start the broadcast at 7:30 p.m. Yeah, okay, all good. I was just confused about today and tomorrow and being midnight these past days. We've done so many rooms where it's trying to match Europe time, Pacific time, Eastern time.
Yeah, thanks for nailing it down. Yeah, thanks for nailing it.
Yeah, okay, so yeah.
So tomorrow, are we going to have a camera inside the spaceship to see the astronauts while launching?
I don't know. I don't know what they have planned. I don't know if they signed the rights all to Netflix, or are we going to have something as we had like today on the SpaceX website?
Okay.
I have no idea what they have planned, so we'll have to play it by ear for that. And I don't know if Netflix wants to broadcast this live also.
Yeah, that's true.
Because these launches, shit can happen. And of course, we wish them all Godspeed and a safe journey and everything, but there's always a risk. And broadcasting these things live on Netflix might be controversial. So I don't know.
I think they said they're going to have it on the Netflix YouTube channel or something like that, but not actually on Netflix.
It's not going to be on Netflix, so it's going to be accessible by anybody on YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh,
that would make sense, because otherwise only paid subscribers could watch.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I'm pretty sure they mentioned it in the first episode when they were kind of like laying out, the plan for the series. I think in the first episode they mentioned you can watch it live on YouTube, and then a week or two later, whatever, the last episode will come out that they film or they have footage from while they're up there.
Okay, so I'll subscribe to the Netflix channel, put all notifications on, and I'll check it out if I have to.
Don't quote me. They said YouTube. I don't know if it'll be their YouTube or just SpaceX, or if they'll have a separate Inspiration for like YouTube channel, but they definitely said YouTube, so it'll be somewhere on.
Yeah, because I imagine they'll have cameramen on the tower. And when we had the SpaceX coverage of the first astronauts going to the ISS, we had pretty good coverage, but it wasn't like TV quality or Netflix quality. You didn't have all the angles. You had the cameras that are installed there, basically, and for the work that they do, they were using the same feed that they were broadcasting SpaceX on their YouTube channel. So I'm guessing when they're going to do the episode for Netflix, it's going to be all like a nice, super high quality and probably with crew on the pad and everywhere to get their facial expressions, their phone call, up close and personal. Yeah, it should be interesting. So we're coming up on close to an hour, and I don't think we want to push this if we want to publish an episode and want people to listen to it. So any last thoughts?
Looking forward to tomorrow. I mean, it's a big.
My Wednesday.
Yep. All right, folks. So thanks a lot for joining us. And the room went perfectly. Did anybody on stage, except for the problem with K10, I'd like to talk to you later, K10, to figure out what went wrong. and Sawyer too, because I don't know if you brought her up. You managed to bring her up, but okay. So yeah, it was on my end. So I think that's the only bug we had was just with K10. I don't know. The app doesn't like you, K10.
I saw something, it disappeared, and I'm like, where did it go? I couldn't find anything.
It's not a very bold invitation like Clubhouse. I miss it all the time.
Yeah, and it doesn't stay very long. It's just on the top right, and it says invite. And if you miss it, if you're not looking at your phone when it happens, you can miss it. But I sent like at least 20 because I saw you on stage many times, and I saw you leave, come back. But I think that was the only bug. Seriously, like for a big room, big stage, an hour long.
Yeah,
this was good.
One bug I faced, Alex, is when I was sending a lot of these emoticons, my app hanged, and I just had to kill it and come back on the iPhone.
Okay. So emojis, careful with emojis. But yeah, aside from that, from the perspective of how the room managed, I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, quite good. Yeah. Do you know what is the bandwidth it takes on a audio, like when we are having the streaming? How much? What's the data rate of the stream?
I don't know, but we have Charlie Weiser. Maybe he can answer that.
Someone from that company, Callin.
Yeah.
Hey,
Charlie, go ahead.
Hey, Deval.
Hi.
Yeah,
Charlie.
we'll have to get back to you on precise metrics on that one.
All right. I used to work on voice over IP, so I'm curious. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and catch you tomorrow at 8 p.m. or 7:30. So subscribe to the show so you get a notification. And yeah, see you tomorrow. Good night, everybody.
Thanks. Good night.
Bye,
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job, Alex and Sawyer.